going to put in an immediate rule. No singing. Leave the singing for the theme song. Anyway. So, we are live and we're rolling right now. I just want to be the first to say, hey everyone. I'm John. That's my buddy James.
I'm James.
He can speak for himself, clearly.
Pretty much. This is Games with John and James.
Games with John and James. Pilot episode number 1. React channel. Okay. So, do we want to jump in? Do we want to give up the ghost already, or do we want to do anything else?
So, we both feel a certain way about IGN's recent top 64 video games of all time. This is ridiculous on every facet, with a few exceptions of pretty good matchups. So we wanted to dive in and talk about that.
Yeah, because when you showed this to me, we both had an immediate and visceral response in such a way that we've been talking about doing this podcast for a while, and we knew that this had to be the first episode, also because it's probably getting on the verge of old news. But, you know, when I saw also some of the seed numbers you get, you're like, oh, okay, so why is Knights of the Old Republic a 5 seed, not number 1?
Yeah, it's kind of puzzling. So, I mean, in diving into this, so we'll start breaking some brackets down for you, because it's mind-boggling, really. Yeah.
And you can follow along at home if you have the image yourself. But we're not going to touch on every single one, because that would just be insanity. But we are going to talk about the ones that we have some things to say about. We've got words here.
John mentioned some seeding. So if you look, Red Dead Redemption, number 1 seed versus 16 seed Borderlands 2. So I don't have a lot of experience when it comes to like shooters or looter shooters, and so for this one I didn't really have much of an opinion on it. It felt kind of like an okay matchup, but I didn't care which one won either way on this.
Not me neither, and you'll kind of get, as we go down this list, you'll see the games that we actually end up playing the most, because we'll have the most to say about them. I don't really give a crap about Borderlands or Red Dead Redemption, but I've heard they were fun. I mean, I know why they're here, but I don't know why I care about them.
Now, would they be in the top 64 of all time? I mean, maybe, but...
How many games exist? That's the question.
I mean, out of the hundreds of thousands that are out there, these are not exactly in my top 64.
You know what? Bad list. Why is Pong not on here?
I know, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Case in point, game over. Like, this list is trash.
Screw this episode, delete.
We won't spare you with too many details on this, but Red Dead Redemption won 79% to 21%. So whoever voted said, hey, Red Dead Redemption, you're making it to the top 32.
Yeah, apparently Randy Pitchford wasn't voting this week. So, moving down the list, we'll probably do some of these rapid fire, but Grand Theft Auto San Andreas versus Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, before we say who won, I just want to give the people at home some time to think about what they think won. You're wrong.
So, for me, my only experience with Grand Theft Auto was Vice City. I had a lot of fun. I played it back in the day with friends. It was always hilarious. Input the cheat code, get the flying tank, shoot it over the bridge, have a good time. Like, it was fine, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
The seminal edition of a video game that Nintendo has perfected year after year of every single release they've ever made.
You can't, I mean, like, for me, Mario Kart 8, like, that's 10 out of 10. You throw that, like, we put that in, we're playing. Like, I might not talk to you after a week if you just beat me 4 or 5 times in a row. Like, that game brings out the competitive juices, but in a fun way. And it's, before you know it, you've been playing for 2, 3, 4 hours, just having fun, chilling with the boys, just having a great time.
And it's really good that we're singing that game's praises, because San Andreas won.
So for me, like, Mario Kart 64 was the most fun I had Mario Kart-wise, aside from the Super Nintendo one. And 8 gave me that feeling all over again. Like, the battle mode is fun, the racing mode is fun, like, being able to design any type of car I want to drive with and just have a good time. Like, I am all for that.
And it's that reason that San Andreas won, apparently.
So, sadly, San Andreas won 73% to 27%.
Who did they vote? Like, who voted? Was it the developers of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas? Like, okay, so we jumped into this pretty quick. And the thing that I want to also kind of preface as we go down, these matchups aren't going to make much sense. So it's going to be one of those situations where you're going to have, as I'm scrolling down the list, you're going to have that discussion between Elder Scrolls Skyrim or Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And it's debatable that Skyrim would never exist if Ocarina of Time didn't exist.
I will give them credit. Like, some of the matchups, they make sense. But, like John said, like, Ocarina of Time versus Skyrim, like, you can't... Like, how do we quantify that? Like, I get Skyrim has been remade 9 million times. It's probably going to get another remake before we get the Elder Scrolls 6. But is it better than Ocarina of Time? Like, that kind of brought everything full circle for your 3D platform puzzle adventure games. Like, Ocarina of Time was, in my opinion, it's like a standard. Like, hey, does my game meet this standard because I'm in that vein? It doesn't? Well, how can I improve that? Because Ocarina of Time has been around since the 64, and it's still a game anybody, new or old, could put in, and they're going to have a blast with. And that's a testament.
I think there would have to be some testing behind that, just with antiquated game mechanics and all sorts of stuff that my game design brain kicks in, and so I have to, supplant all the stuff that I know or we experience. It's like when you go back in time and you play 2D shooters, and then you imagine playing like Overwatch or something nowadays. It's like, okay, are these skills transferable? A little bit, but there's a lot more time needed in the kind of to cook and learn, you know what I'm saying?
That's fair. Like, definitely, like, mechanics have been definitely improved upon. Like, you look at the hook shot when that was introduced and the way it was introduced in Ocarina of Time versus any game that's put an equivalent out to that nowadays, and it's definitely been improved upon. But
that's kind of the whole points of games.
Exactly. We got to keep improving. Some are timeless, but some, like, there's always room for improvement.
That's actually what I want to point on, because I think about Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. That's not even the best Grand Theft Auto. It probably was the best to someone, or at some point in time it was the best of its kind then. It's not anymore, and you can tell because you look at Grand Theft Auto 5, people still play that game.
I mean, it was literally the first game on the PlayStation 5 announcement. It was cue music, cue PlayStation 5.
Dude.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
And I'm sure Microsoft was like, oh, we could have opened with GTA 5? Shit. So.
Like, when that happened, it blew my mind. I was like, huh, well, I guess we're bringing this one with us, boys.
You guys are getting a new Halo, a new Gears of War, a new Banjo-Kazooie maybe? Who knows? Grand Theft Auto 5. Shit, they won. Anyway, we'll probably touch on a few more of these as we go down. Like, there are some games like right here. It's like Knights of the Old Republic versus Tony Hawk Pro Skater. That's like the next one on the list.
Matchup doesn't make sense.
Purely, like, these are all random now.
Like, I never played any Tony Hawk games, so I can't speak on that. Knights of the Old Republic, I know my friends used to really love that game. Like, they were very passionate about it, and they were super excited that it was getting the remake, and now it's coming back out on current consoles. So, I mean, like, I'm impartial.
I liked Tony Hawk 3 more myself.
See, they should have put Tony Hawk 3 there. You would have had some skin in the game with that one.
Mm-hmm. I have some skin in the game with KOTOR. Like, I know what that game is. I know what it did. It was like, oh wait, BioWare's a company, and they made a good Star Wars game. Because what was the good Star Wars game before that? Freaking Shadows of the Empire.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like nothing.
It's hit and miss. It's few and far in between. I mean, heck, look at Star Wars.
Jedi power battles on the Dreamcast.
Star Wars Episode 1 Racing. Remember that?
Yeah, I had that on the Dreamcast and the 64. That was good.
Oh, man. That was a good time. Like, blowing out the pod engine, and all of a sudden you're just, like, at half speed, and it's like, well, do I finish the race, or do I blow up and get a restart?
I'm just glad they got to use the right Sebulba sound effect, and he goes, roar, and explodes.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
So with that one, guys, Knights of the Old Republic, it won. I think, justifiably speaking, yeah.
55 to 45%.
Yeah, so I'm okay with that one. Like, I don't feel a certain way about that one, but I feel that was the correct one.
Yeah.
Then we have Fallout New Vegas versus League of Legends. They're not in the same vein. Like, one is arguably the most played MOBA of all time. Like, helped bring esports even more into the limelight. Like, you had colleges recruiting for League of Legends players before you had colleges recruiting for Overwatch or any of the other ones.
I'm disgusted. I'm being quiet because I'm just disgusted.
And then you have Fallout New Vegas, which was arguably one of the better Fallout titles. Like, I have not played a Fallout game, but everybody that I have talked to says, hey, try New Vegas. It's a good entry. You don't have to go in exact order. It's a very good starting point to jump into that universe.
Mm-hmm.
But
especially with 4 and 76 after it. Yeah.
Like, the matchup doesn't make sense. Like, I played League. Like, I played a little bit up until it got super, super competitive when it really blew up. And I'll still log in occasionally to play a game with friends. But, like, in this example, Fallout New Vegas destroyed League of Legends 74% to 26%.
Haters. That's what it was.
Like, how do you quantify that?
Well, you quantify it by, like, popularity vote. And also who sees it, and also I'm pretty sure because this is an IGN thing, it's probably the IGN audience, so the type of people that like to visit there.
Well, I mean, speaking of the IGN audience, that'll throw everybody for a loop on the next one. We've got World of Warcraft versus Fortnite.
Which one do you hate more? Vote now.
Like, the IGN crowd would, I feel like they would, kind of gravitate towards Fortnite with how big it became and how much it blew up. I mean, heck, it pushed cross-platform play in a way that nothing else ever did. And then you have World of Warcraft, the MMO that can never die. It's 2021. What expansion are we putting out today, boys?
It was also probably the reason why Blizzard started to suck after a while, but we don't get into politics here. Video games are not the place for politics.
But
who said that before? Everyone.
So, World of Warcraft won.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with that. Like, that is the MMO to end all MMOs. So, I mean, the fact that it's still being played 17 years later by however many millions of active users, I mean, that speaks volumes.
And I think Fortnite's going to go the same way. But meanwhile, in the back of my mind, I'm just like, which one is less boring to play? Because they're both pretty fucking boring to play. Anyway, next games.
So this is my hot button.
All right. Yeah, I read it again, and I'm just like, oh, he's going to have something. He's going to pop off on this one.
So we have Burnout 3 Takedown.
A third installment in a very venerable series that went off to spawn on many more sequels, and is granted a very fun racing action game.
Versus Chrono Trigger, arguably the best JRPG of all time. You brought in the big three, as they like to be called, and on top of that, you had Masato Kato in there as well, who went on for Chrono Cross to be the executive producer over there. You have a game that has depth, testament for stopping power in the story, literally still talked about to this day. Like, me personally, yes, I'm biased. Like, it is arguably one of my top 3 favorite JRPGs of all time, but that game was made in the 90s. And it is literally still relevant today. Like, you can hold that up against any new JRPG coming out, and you'll see the shallowness of quite a few of these games, and then you look at Chrono Trigger. And you can argue with Chrono Trigger, like, yeah, there's not a lot of depth to the characters, but the story itself had that depth. It had that layer. And to pit it against Burnout 3, that's sacrilege. Now, I could see you pitting it against Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VI. Like, give it a good matchup. One that makes sense.
How many cars do you get in that game?
You get one. Johnny, remember? Get that nice, beautiful dun-dun-dun.
How many racetracks does it have?
It has one.
See, I see why Burnout won.
So, as John said, Burnout 3 won 59% to 41%.
It's got way more cars. It's got way more racetracks. Obviously.
I went on...
As a racing game, it's better.
Apparently we like to race nowadays. I went on a 2-hour diatribe with John about the ridiculousness of that listing. That was my, I don't care any more about this list. I've got to toss it out.
It was like a hold my beer moment.
So...
and also, yes, I'm still recovering from it. All of your support, thank you.
And then we have Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, versus GoldenEye 007.
So, I actually have some stuff to say about this one, because I remember how weirdly visceral the reaction was for when Call of Duty 4 was announced. So Call of Duty was technically the new kid on the block. It was coined the Medal of Honor killer, first-person shooters based in World War II. Great. The first 3 Call of Duties were pretty straightforward World War II based shooters. It's, and they did things in ways that were very Call of Duty. It was like, oh yeah, set piece moments, big action, guns, and a weird kind of reflection of a certain level of kind of magical reality. So like when you're playing as the Russians in the first game and you don't have a gun and you have to go pluck it off of a dead guy, which is what actually happened to some people, like you never saw that kind of stuff. And it was a testament to the actual design of the core game itself that made it appeal. Now, that game came out in 2007, 2008, in that area, right?
Yeah. Right around there. Yeah, because I remember like it was all the rage. Everybody would get together. It's like, hey, we got to play this on 360. It was like the first truly like immersive online combat experience. Like that was the one where, hey, grabbing a 6-pack, hanging out with the boys, get on TeamSpeak. We're playing Call of Duty 6, 7, 10, 14 hours straight.
It was basically turning our resentment of the War on Terror into a bucket of toy guns and tanks and stuff, and letting you have fun.
And then you have GoldenEye 007, which, in my opinion, was like the pinnacle of like couch, co-op, fun, chaos in a shooter.
Yeah.
Like...
No, so again, like you look at the actual format that it comes out in, and the way games were played in 1998. No one played games like GoldenEye on your Nintendo 64, and no one played it that well, or had it that memorable, or had that good of music, or even then just as a movie licensed game. They're never good. This one was good. There were so many check marks that everything went well with that game, and it sold like 4 million copies on the 64, which was unheard of.
I mean, Oddjob says right there, let me be Oddjob, you can't shoot me.
How many freaking copies did that game sell again? Holy shit.
Yeah, quite a bit. Like, it was one of the top sellers on the 64, and it's still sought after. Like, I have a Nintendo 64 sitting at home that I will load that up and I will couch co-op till the cows come home. It's that good.
Yeah.
So, this matchup, I can kind of agree with this. Like, Modern Warfare, I think, at the time, was the pinnacle for what we could achieve.
It was also something we just didn't see. Like, that was the one thing I wanted to push the most. Like, and it's, again, as I made my joke earlier about not getting political here, like, no, seriously, that was like a lot of pent-up resentment of those years of American life, that it's like, you know what, I just want to be a war hero in my own modern war story, and that game facilitated that emotion very well.
And then you have GoldenEye, which, best couch co-op. Like, this is a matchup, you know what?
Also, I get to be James Bond.
Hey, exactly, like, Bond, don't die twice.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this matchup, I can kind of agree with. Like, I'm like, you know what? This was well thought up. Man, even though it was well thought up, Call of Duty 4 monstered GoldenEye. 72% to 28%.
Again, IGN audience, biased. It's okay. We don't get these right sometimes.
I mean, then we have Journey versus Dishonored.
I have nothing to say.
Like,
I know both are very well regarded in, like, stealth action gameplay and also, like, environmental storytelling. And both of them... I'm not even going to bother comparing. We want to just move to the next one?
Yeah, I mean, Dishonored won 70 to 30. Like,
yeah.
They were good games, like, but I never experienced them. You guys can kind of see where this is going for me.
Uh-huh. And so moving on to the next one, we have Portal 2 versus The Sims 3, and I'm just going to say it, Portal 2 deserves to win, and it did.
Yeah, I mean, matchup doesn't make sense, but, I mean, Portal 2 is, like...
One of them is a game, one of them's not.
So. I mean, one of them spawned the cake is a lie. Like, I mean, I remember hearing that.
You don't get to have an effect on a freaking cultural... You don't need to be a cultural touchstone and not be amazing.
Exactly. Like, Sims is always fun. It's cool, but it's not Portal 2. Portal 2, I agree.
So, okay, now we're getting into it.
So, God of War 2018.
Not even 2002 God of War.
Versus Starcraft is our next matchup.
This was clearly an Americans-only voting.
Yeah. I mean, if we allowed the world, but... So God of War, for me, it was a cool franchise. Like, on the PS2, going into the PSP, like, 1, 2, 3, great story, good gameplay elements, and it literally felt like you were there. It's like, I got this new thing. Let me see what I can do. Oh, you want to screw me over, gods? Well, I'm coming for your head. Mm-hmm. And it was so immersive. It was so much fun to play.
It was, you know what it actually did better, and I'm going to get some heat for this if people listen to it. It did Dark Souls better than Dark Souls with its environmental, like, world building. Because, you know how people get freaking psyched in Dark Souls when you kick down a ladder and it's like, finally, I have a shortcut. Everything in God of War, like the PlayStation 2 games, was designed that way. Everything was a giant labyrinthian level that you explored and you kicked ass in. And it's unfortunate we're not talking about that game. We're talking about 2018.
I mean, we can reserve that for a later time because we can go diving on that.
Right, but short story shorter.
And then you have Starcraft, arguably
one of the most influential RTS games next to Warcraft.
Yeah. I mean, heck, we even remember Command and Conquer back in the day. It was like Command and Conquer or Starcraft. Which way do you want to go?
And now that's not even a question anymore because one of them ate everything else.
Yep. But with this matchup, this one is our most lopsided one yet. God of War won 90% to 10%.
Right. Over the course of these episodes, ladies and gentlemen, and everything else in between, you're going to learn what kind of games that I play. And it's not very many because if I can't get sold on a game within 30 seconds, I just walk.
Believe me, I've tried. I've loaned this guy countless games. He's nice. He plays a few hours and he's like, I'm not sold.
You got to hook me and you got to keep me there.
Yep.
If you can't do that, sorry, I have other things to do.
So, I mean, we have Sid Meier's Civilization 4 versus Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Assassin's Creed, it's copy, paste, rinse, repeat, change the timeline.
It's the most boring Ubisoft franchise.
But it's got a solid fan base. It's fun for who enjoys it. So, and Civ 4, not much to say on that. If this was Civ 5, absolutely. That was the pinnacle of that franchise. Civilization 6, man.
So
whatever.
why is 4 on the list? I'm assuming this matchup only happened because both games have 4 in their name.
Could be. Very well could be. But, so Assassin's Creed, monstered, 85% to 15%. And
we already talked about the next one.
Yeah.
I'm still mad about it.
Yeah, John touched base pretty heatedly on the next one, which was Ocarina of Time versus The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
One of these games wouldn't exist without the other one. That is how I would vote in that scenario.
And Skyrim wins 63% to 37%.
Shigeru Miyamoto is getting the Master Sword and coming to Bethesda, Maryland.
I'm coming for you. So our next one, for me, I kind of like it, and I kind of don't like it. Mm-hmm. It's Bioshock versus Overwatch.
Now, here's where I have my area of expertise come in again, because Bioshock is a perfect video game. That's what I say. Bioshock, in terms of its genre, with everything it wanted to do and everything it actually delivered upon, is a perfect video game that will never be replicated ever again. Overwatch is getting a sequel. Granted, Bioshock also got sequels, but nonetheless. What I'm saying is the first Bioshock game was perfect, with its environmental storytelling, its actual gameplay, the way it did everything brand new, and no one saw it coming. It was just everything that happened, it was a friggin' lightning in a bottle moment that'll never happen again.
I remember when So, I left console gaming for a while. I got sucked into World of Warcraft. I'll admit it readily. I raided, I did the whole 9 yards. So I kind of missed the initial launch of Bioshock, but I remember everywhere I went, people were talking about it. People I played WoW with, they were missing time in WoW because they loved that game.
They quit their other day job to go play games and have fun as another day job.
Yep. It's I'm clocking out, I'm going into the other one. See ya. And then Overwatch, I've had some fun with. It's fun.
I still play that game.
It can be very rage-inducing because a lot of the things that happen feel like it's not fully your fault.
Oh.
And it's fun, and I appreciate the moments with it. So I agree with what IGN said here. Bioshock won 65% to 35%.
The one last thing I'll say about Overwatch, because you said rage moments and stuff like that, stuff out of your control. A lot of what freed me from those kinds of feelings, because I actually want to have fun when I play with my toys, you have to look at what you contribute. If you're the one getting the gold medals, if you're the one performing, making sure if you're a healer, you're keeping people healed. If you're defensive, keeping people covered. If you're doing your job and you still lose, self-worth, self-care. That's what that is. Anyway, you can clearly tell that I've destroyed a controller or two in my time. Anyway.
More like 10.
Okay, so at least I only had one. Where's my Wii U gamepad? Anyway, so next one is Minecraft and Fable 2. I have never played Minecraft in my life, and I don't intend to. But it took over the world, and I get why.
Yeah, that's the number 1 video game sold of all time versus Fable 2,
which was granted, when that came out, I fucking loved it.
I think they picked the right Fable here. I think out of 1, 2, and 3, Fable 2 was the best. 1 was good.
One was good. It was overhyped and underdelivered. Fable 2 curbed it a little bit, and it delivered a good game.
And then Fable 3 was just kind of a write-off. It was, hey, let's release a third one.
For fun.
So,
to make money.
they picked the right Fable, but Minecraft, they won here, 71%.
Yeah, Minecraft won the game culture war and in this poll, too.
Exactly.
The fact that you can get Creeper action figures and backpacks and that Steve is in Smash Brothers right now and not the hero from Fable.
I mean, you go to every store, you see Minecraft, so, I mean, they're doing something right.
If kids love it, it'll take over the world. Pure and simple.
So our next matchup kind of goes back into the realm of, what in the hell are you thinking? It's The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt versus Diablo 2. Like,
again, I had no experience on my part. Like,
The Witcher 3, it won. Cool. Life moves on. Like, one has a TV show, one has a cult game following. Like,
excuse me, the devil is in everything made by Hollywood.
Next, we have the original Doom versus Inside. I played the original Doom. I loved it. Never played Inside. I really can't speak anything of it. But Doom won 76% to 24%.
If we were talking about Doom 2016, I could tell you some things, but I mean, I grew up with those old first-person shooters as well. I inherited like an old PC from my uncle. That's how I played like all the LucasArts games back in the day and like the Wolfenstein 3D and shit. That was a lot of fun. Anyway, so that's one side of the bracket. We're halfway there, folks.
Stay with us.
Or just stop listening. Who's going to stop you?
Right? I've heard half of this. I don't want to hear these guys anymore.
I'm sick of this garbage. I've got my own opinions to write and make a podcast about. Right. So moving right along to, we have Super Mario World versus Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I know what I'd pick.
Yeah, I mean, Super Mario World was one of the best. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I mean, thank you, Daddy Sakurai, let's just call it as it is, for countless characters, maps, everything, the newest characters coming out here
practically
soon.
Killing yourself to make the video game actually happen because you're just a workaholic and it's insane.
6 years of, 14-hour days, 15-hour days, whatever he was working?
Being hooked up to an IV.
Yeah, dude's a madman. Versus Super Mario World, which was arguably one of the best for the longest time. I mean, so I'm fine either way with this one. But Smash won 60% to 40%.
Yeah, and I'm just going to get ahead of the game here, too, with the whole which one's better, Mario 3 or Mario World. Mario World's freaking better. Because I just went back and played Mario 3. That game sucks. Like, it's not fun. There are so many levels where you're just stopped in your tracks and you just die. It's not fun.
I mean, that's why you just get the whistles and skip to the very end.
But that's not making a game good. That's making not playing the game good.
Come on, you remember, the first level, just hide on the white thing, fall underneath, and you're running on the background, run through.
I will admit, I have probably played the first world of Mario 3 more times than I've actually played Mario 3, because this is my childhood. I would carpool to elementary school with some family friends, and they had a Nintendo. We had time to get ready before we go to school. And it's like, you just play through Mario World 1. It's like, sweet, I beat the game, see ya.
Yep, that is fair.
But Mario World is so much better because it's consistently awesome the entire time.
I can't argue with that. So the next we have The Last of Us.
Boo.
Versus Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
Yay.
The only one I have experience with, because I did miss a lot of console time playing WoW again, I have experience with Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. I always enjoy a Metal Gear Solid game. It's always fun. It always, if I have that weird itch for kind of espionage shooter style, Metal Gear scratches it, 100%. The Last of Us, from what I heard, it was a really, really story-driven game in a very messed up future. So, I mean,
What do you want your games to be? Do you want them to be fun? Hopefully that's the first answer, right? You know what I mean?
I would hope so.
Yeah, so everything that I've ever heard about The Last of Us and experience from playing The Last of Us, it's just dismal and bleak and sad and all the moments of peppered in with oh, but there's hope and stuff. No, there's no hope. None. With Snake Eater, you get Kojima at his probably most craziest at that era. And it's fun. And it's also got drama. It also has story and character development and world and all this wonderful, amazing stuff. And it's also just fun to actually play and experience. Last of Us just made me sad. And I don't want to be sad. Life gives me enough reasons to be sad.
Well, I'm going to make you more sad because The Last of Us won.
Why are we even doing this podcast?
74% to
Why are we even doing this?
26%.
Why is IGN still a website? That is a veto right there. I have veto power on their opinions.
If you listen very closely, that's the sound of John shedding a tear.
Let's see. Next one, Halo 2 versus Mass Effect 2. I like me some Halo 2.
Like, Halo 2 was fun. It was good. It was still couch co-op, so still a lot of fun. Mass Effect 2, arguably also a good game.
Still had couch co-op and it had Xbox Live, yo.
So, I mean, this one, I'm fine either way. This one I don't have a lot to say about. So, I mean, Halo 2 won 69% to 31%.
And this next one's really actually going to piss me off specifically.
So, we have, of all matchups, Street Fighter 2 versus Pokemon Yellow. How do you even quantify that? Like, is
one of them is a revolutionary game that completely reinvented its own genre when it came out and is still played today and has been iterated upon for years and years and years. In Pokemon Yellow, you can have Pikachu walk behind you and you can look at him and he'll sometimes make a face.
Yeah.
And he'll sound just like that because the Game Boy speaker was garbage.
Oh my god, that sound. So Pokemon Yellow won. Kind of close, 53% to 47%.
To the World Warriors' credit, they came out, they voted. Also, I think we skipped one. So.
Oh, I mean, my apologies, guys. We actually
skipped. So 2 brackets are going to piss me off. Okay, cool.
Grand Theft Auto 5, which you heard us talk about. We don't need to say anything more about that. Versus Uncharted 2 Among Thieves.
Now, I'm going to tell them from my personal experience, I was a bit of a latecomer to the Uncharted franchise. Didn't get a PS3 until later into its life cycle. And even then, I looked at the Uncharted games. I'm like, I get it. When I saw them, I was like, I get it. I saw what they were. They're probably really great. Whatever. It wasn't until 4 came out that I said to marathon the first 3. Uncharted 2 is one of the best action shooting games ever made.
I mean, yeah, I can't, like...
It just is.
Yeah, I can't speak to it. Again, missed out quite a bit of gaming. Like, I came back to console gaming in the PlayStation 4, towards the latter part of its life. And I have deep dove hard into retro. My bread and butter is RPG and story games. Like, that's me. I love it.
No kidding.
I know, right? Chrono Trigger, still up in arms about it. But Uncharted 2, when I've seen friends play it, it looked really enjoyable. I mean, heck, we're getting a movie's coming out about it, right?
Yeah, starring Spider-Man.
So, I mean, they're doing something right. But
when you say they're doing something right, again, it comes back to the previous question I had. Do you want your games to be fun? So I think about the time, because I played through Grand Theft Auto 5 at least once. When it came out, I played it. And I had a really good time with it. It was fun for what it was. But I didn't really... As I look back on it and I was asking myself, was it fun? I couldn't really tell you. Because for me, you just mentioned you're very much a story-based person when it comes to your video games. Me, I care a lot about mechanics. I care about mechanics and sometimes spectacle, because if you do something I've never seen before, that's freaking great. But the thing about Uncharted 2 compared to Grand Theft Auto 5, which one is more fun to play in the minute-to-minute gameplay? Uncharted is always going to win because it's a game in a very deliberate way. You are going to this level and this level and this level, whereas you have your open world sandbox where...
So it's not a chore is what you're saying.
It's not a chore. And it's not a delivery vehicle for stuff to be announced later. Because the reason that GTA 5 is still around is because of great GTA Online. And even GTA Online, it's still not fun to play online. It's just not.
If you haven't been around since day one, you're not going to go anywhere.
It's like Call of Duty. Anyway. Yeah.
So, I mean, this makes John sad, but GTA 5 won 75% to 25%.
I get why. I don't... I know which one I would have preferred to win. That's what I'm saying.
So we'll get back on track.
Why else are you here? Why else are you here for this?
I know, right?
2 white men who play video games yell at you.
Oh, gosh.
That was our working title. Anyway.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God, the next one. Oh, the 3 brackets now. Okay.
So
4 brackets. I'm looking ahead.
Oh, no.
5 brackets.
Okay. He's looking into the future.
6.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, 6. At least the next 6 brackets piss me off.
So, Super Mario 64 versus Batman Arkham City is our
Boo.
next bracket.
Boo.
So, I love Super Mario 64. I played the hell out of it. I got all the stars. I, dove hard onto the weird fan theory of if you get all the stars, you get Yoshi, or you'll unlock Luigi. I remember those conversations back in the day, back in high school.
I like one of your conspiracy theories was one that actually is real.
I know, right? But nobody had done it before, so it was pseudo-conspiracy theory until you experienced it for yourself, because we couldn't watch it online.
The one that I remember the most is that you could do a wall jump off the side of Peach's castle, off of a hill, and then you could get to the roof faster. So you didn't even get all the stars. You could just go see Yoshi. I'm just like, what? And then when someone actually did in front of me, it freaked me out.
Like, and then you have Batman Arkham City. So I never experienced the Arkham games, but I've seen gameplay of it. I've seen friends play it, and for what I would want in a Batman beat 'em up, that delivers in spades. Like, the story is there. Like, I mean, Joker's messed up, Bane's messed up. Like, you actually get to see Batman go through character arcs, which we don't really see too much of anymore nowadays. It's just, I'm Batman and I'm awesome.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate it from that, but it should not have beat Super Mario 64 61% to 39%. Should not have. That should be Super Mario 64 all day.
We talked about legacy. We talked about times in which games come out. We talk about games that if didn't exist, other games probably couldn't have existed at all. We talked about that before. R64 reinvented the friggin' wheel. That's what it did. Like, period. And people's like, oh, you go back and play, it's not as good. You're wrong. I'm sorry, you just are. Like, so you can still play Mario 64 to this day and love the crap out of it. And just play it and jump around and get stars and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Who's going to go back and play Arkham City? Probably no one. Because, oh, the new one's out. Or, I don't know, thinking about it's just boring now.
I mean, you're totally right on that. Super Mario 64, like, that should have won. But, Batman Arkham City.
So the popularity contest aspect of this is just garbage.
The people have spoken.
And the people are stupid.
Whoa. Now, so here's the one that John's going to be super divisive on. So we have Dark Souls versus Shadow of the Colossus. I loved Shadow of the Colossus. It was unique. It was different in its time. I mean, literally, it was, hey, I want to go on an adventure and take on the impossible giant and make it happen. And not once, not twice, but multiple monsters. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Were there flaws? Sure. Camera was clunky. Controls were a little wonky, but it was so much fun that they remastered it and put it out for the PS4 for crying out loud.
They remastered it twice. An HD version on the PS3, and then they actually remastered it properly. Yeah. And what's funny is the way you describe it, I see why these two would actually be good opponents, because to me, Shadow of the Colossus is Dark Souls without the bullshit. Like, what is the point of Dark Souls? Just be hard and say screw you and die?
I mean, somebody out there listened to the whole, we want difficult games, and they gave them Dark Souls, and oh lord. You want difficult.
You ruined video games, dick. Anyway, but... So
tell us how you really feel.
No, but like I was gonna, the first response I had when comparing these two games is like it's art. The team that made Shadow of the Colossus made a very unique and wholly wonderful experience that was made to be it. Dark Souls is the beginning of a franchise, sure, and it has its fans and its audience, and it has like its own little genre and niche and all these other wonderful things that people can like about it. I just see it, I'm just like, who cares? Like, you look at something that was like a seminal moment in games versus one that's just like, oh, the start of a franchise. So people say like, oh, go play Dark Souls 3 or go play Bloodborne or go play one of the better Souls games. It's like...
Needless to say, Dark Souls punched a hole in Shadow of the Colossus. A whopping 66% to 34%.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
The next one, even more ridiculous.
So we have Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2
versus Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Half-Life 2. Every time you hear that, I want you to just remember.
It was the game that can't be replicated. Like when Half-Life 2 came out, so I don't have experience with it, but I have seen it and been able to formulate my opinions on it accordingly from friends, watching gameplay, being around it. It can't be replicated. Like, as John said, lightning in a bottle. Like, that game... It was literally, oh, does your game stack up to this because you're in the same vein? Oh, no? Go back to the drawing board. And it is still arguably the benchmark
of at least
for its genre.
Yeah, especially of what Valve is capable of and what is done before. There were times where I would play the original Half-Life and my entire weekends would disappear just because you lived there and spent time there and like actually enjoyed what you were doing there. Like, with Half-Life 2... Not even from like a gaming history standpoint with like the source code being leaked and they developed a brand new physics engine, which every single video game uses now.
I mean, when you do that, you've arrived. You're the benchmark.
The way Gabe Newell described it was, the reason that we made Half-Life is we wanted to make a video game that approached fun and breakthrough technology and combine those together into a very good, like, interactive whole experience. They did it with Half-Life 2, episodes 1 and 2. They did it with Alex just this last year. They did it with Portal. They did it with everything they've ever made, maybe except Artifact. So what I'm saying is that Valve, for what you can say about them, is a company like no other. And I am by no means a fanboy of theirs. I still think some of their games are just whatever, or I don't care enough. Like, I've sunk so many hours in the TF2, you have no idea. But what I'm saying is that, like, I remember one of my favorite critics a long time ago, and this was around the time that, like, GTA 4 came out, and he was comparing reviews when GTA 4 came out and said, like, the best game since Ocarina of Time. It's like, whoa. Ocarina of Time came out and completely changed the face of like, video gaming forever. If anything, GTA 4 just kind of cuts the grass real good.
Like, you said it best. And then we have Rise of the Tomb Raider. It was a good game. It's
the third one
exactly
in the new franchise. Well, why wouldn't it just be the first Tomb Raider if it was that good?
Like, it was a good game. It's a once playthrough, right? It's, hey, this is cool. I enjoy the Tomb Raider franchise. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna have a good time.
And then you see a freaking punji stick go through her neck as she scrambles to try and stay alive, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, someone's probably jerking off to this. You can't jerk off to anything in Half-Life 2. That's not true.
Oh, goodness. We're going to a whole different topic there, boys. So, unfortunately, Rise of the Tomb Raider won 52% to 48%. I mean, it's a close vote.
It was close, but
Half-Life 2, when you talk about games and you talk about, like, you've hit the pinnacle or you are still relevant in today's world, it's Half-Life 2. Like,
no one is going to talk about Rise of the Tomb Raider ever again.
Yeah, you play it once, it's cool. I like Lara Croft. I enjoy the Tomb Raider franchise. Neat. I played it. Whatever.
So quick sidebar then says, like, because this is something that's actually been on my mind too, is that, like, the games that usually stand the test of times. Let me reverse that. So everybody knows or has games in there that are just disposable, right? Like, they come out, you play them, you enjoy them, but you're kind of like, I don't know. I'm not going to return to it.
Oh, hello, Madden. Hello, FIFA. Hello, all of those,
okay,
right?
We're clearly not sports fans here. But like, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like, you know, you think back on those games, like, yeah, those were great. It's like, you want to play them again? Not really. Like, there was a game I did that for me. The first Crackdown came out on 360. I played that game to death. And I played it so much that I can't play it anymore. Because I can't. Like, physically, I just can't bring myself to play it again. Because I'm like, yeah, go over here, do all that stuff. All that stuff that was so exciting and so fun and so wonderful, just like, yeah.
And then here I am. I play Chrono Trigger once a year, every year. Family member got me into gaming, and, like, that was a big game for my family and me. And so it's just kind of like a time-honored tradition. Like, you know what? I'm going to play Chrono Trigger again this year. And I always try and spice it up. I try and do different things. Like, that's my... I've played this game a million times. Like, that game, I can tell you everything like the back of my hand. I mean, heck, I'm like a walking strategy guide for it. So, like, I mean, I get that. Like,
I like how the game you play every year is Chrono Trigger, and the game I end up playing every year is Sonic 06.
Hey, I mean, when you gotta go fast, you gotta go fast. Moving on. So our next one...
another one that pissed me off.
Super Metroid versus Apex Legends. So...
Apex Legends won, and it pisses me off. Like, I'm just gonna say it. It's wrong. Like,
Super Metroid was the sticking point for, hey, we're making games in the vein of a Metroidvania. Like, you had your Castlevanias, you had your Metroid, like, on the NES, right? Like, you had those. They were good, but it wasn't like its own, hey, this is my identity moving forward. And then Super Metroid comes out, and it's, like, fully solidified.
Yep.
Like...
Seminal moment in gaming. When you hear the voice line come up of the last Metroids in captivity, and you hear that droning hum of the title screen, you're just like, okay.
And then you have Apex Legends. Cool, it's a battle royale.
A cool battle royale made by a good team. I do like Respawn Entertainment. I like everybody who formed that company. I like the 2 games they made before it, which were probably way better.
But let's be real, it should not have beat Super Metroid. Like,
No.
So, I mean, moving along, we have a entertaining bracket of...
So, alright, so in the cross-section of kids who grew up playing these games and now plays Apex Legends, and if you did play Super Metroid, leave a freaking comment and say why we're wrong. Like, because I want to hear what you have to say, because you're probably wrong.
Yeah, and, like, by no means, this is our opinions, right? But we want to hear from you. Like, let us know what you guys are thinking as well, because, I mean, this is a doozy of the top 64 games of all time.
This, and the bracket's like the best game of all time. And we've seen the winner, and it's bullshit.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But next we have Half-Life Alyx and Bloodborne? Or is this Titanfall 2 and... Okay.
No, yeah. So, skipping ahead. Shame on you. Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and Titanfall 2.
So, Animal Crossing New Horizons. People will say it's not the best Animal Crossing game, but it certainly came out at the best time, because that's when COVID happened.
Yeah, I mean, like, people sunk hours and hours into it. Like, it was quarantine therapy, quarantine medicine. And then you have Titanfall 2,
the real-life fantasy of being able to go outside. Yeah.
I know, right? And then Titanfall 2, I mean...
That game should have been so much more received, but they had it basically compete against Battlefield 5, and they were both EA games, and EA sent out that game to die.
Yeah, well, it didn't die here, because Titanfall 2 won 67% to 33%.
I'm not pissed off anymore. That's a good one. That's fine.
I'm okay with that. And then,
so
here's one that's going to put Jon being polarized a little bit again.
Well, here's the thing. I have no opinion on this one in particular, because it's Bloodborne versus Half-Life Alyx, and Half-Life Alyx didn't win. And the reason why, I'm sure, is because, like, only 5 people have ever played it.
Like, out of all of the Soulsborne games, see what I did there, Bloodborne is the most polished in my opinion, just because you actually feel immersed in the environment and you feel like you can contribute to it. You feel like the story drives the action versus the actions just being there to be hard action. So, like, I'm okay with Bloodborne in the Souls in like a Soulsborne-esque style versus Half-Life Alyx. I mean, kind of an unfair advantage. Like, I think Alyx is one of the least played Half-Lives.
Which is unfortunate, because I feel like everyone should be allowed to play a new Half-Life game.
Exactly. We need another one coming out. Let's message them. Let's
Half-Life
make them listen
Alyx
to our
2.
podcast.
Look, I'll get John Valve on the phone. Anyway.
Look here. We need a new one.
We need a new one because I want to play it.
So, Bloodborne won 70% to 30%. It's to be expected.
Do you ever think that maybe that a lot of games actually got made that way? Like, it was some friggin' CEO of some Japanese company just like, Pac-Man was good, but we need a new one.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to be on a list someday. Let's make it win.
Yeah, and just adjust his glasses and frickin' pours his sake. And...
The secondary market and opinion matter.
Yeah. The next one, no debate. Tetris versus Rock Band. The fact that Tetris only won with 68% makes me angry because Tetris is a perfect video game, and Rock Band is a fun party game.
Oh, it was a perfect party game, too. Like, it was well designed.
It was good. I'm not faulting. Like, I take into account a lot of things when looking at this list.
True.
The fact that people can still play Tetris today and no one's playing Rock Band or really Guitar Hero anymore, I'm sure they're still out there, but whatever. Tetris is unstoppable, timeless masterpiece.
I mean, when you're the best puzzle game of all time and you you legitimately spawned a genre of games. And what was it, 2 years ago? Tetris 99? Remember that fun? Let's play Tetris with 99 other people.
And it was also the best battle royale because you as the player are constantly engaged against everybody else all the time.
Oh, you're targeting me? Don't worry, I saved this line just for you. Eat a Tetris.
Eat some hot garbage, you bastard. But
So Tetris won.
Tetris won, thank God.
Justifiably so.
There is a God in life. This proves it.
Moving right along.
I have no say in this.
So it's a weird matchup. So we have Metroid Prime versus Hades. I played both. Loved Hades to death. Jon can attest. I literally was trying to sell him on this game. First few days coming out, and he ended up picking it up. He was getting frustrated.
I was getting a little upset because I felt like the controls fought me a little bit, and I felt like it's one of those games, because it is, that you have to play a lot to get good at. And I'm just like, okay, I'm out of shape right now, and do I want to go for a run or a workout, or do I want to get good at Hades? I had to make that decision.
And then you have Metroid Prime. It was that was the game that helped bring Metroid, bring the Metroid series even more success. Prime was fun. Prime is super good. Prime won 54% to 46%. Matchup doesn't make sense to me, but I agree with the winner. Head scratcher for me is our next matchup: Super Mario Bros. 3 versus Persona 5 Royal. Like,
so just to piss off any potential Persona fans who are going to listen to this, Super Mario Brothers 3 won. Good.
Like, what in the what? Like,
and you're talking to a person who hates that game.
So
I hate the you more than I hate the game.
Like, it literally feels like they're like, here's our 64 games. We're going to randomize it old-fashioned bingo style. You're number 1. You're number 2. Because, like, this matchup, 0 sense. Like, I could agree, like, a matchup of Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World. That'd be awesome. Not this. So our next one, we have Castlevania, Symphony of the Night.
The coin, the seminal game of search action.
And then you have Resident Evil 4.
The seminal game of Resident Evil being fun for the first time ever.
I'm fine either way on this. Like, I don't have a lot to speak on it.
Me neither, truly.
So, Resident Evil 1, 79% to 21%.
How many consoles has RE4 come out on? Because I think it's literally every single possible thing, even things that we don't even know.
It got a remaster, right?
It got a remaster, but it also got like a Wii version. It came out on the PS2 back in the day.
GameCube.
It came out. That was the original.
Yeah.
The original was GameCube. Went to the PS2. Went to the Wii. Went to like a remaster HD style for the 360 and the PS3, I believe. They did it for the PC. The Zeebo, which was like a Chinese plug-and-play console thing.
So what you're saying is they gave the solution to Skyrim for remake my game a million times. Thanks, Resident Evil. I hate it.
I hate it, but you're still fun. And finally, on the last, this is the last one on the like initial bracket. I just looked at it again.
So we have The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, arguably the game that pushed the Switch into the stratosphere. Like, you have a Switch, you got to have Breath of the Wild. It's like synonymous. It doesn't matter if you're not a Zelda fan. Like, Breath of the Wild did something different, gave you Zelda. Like, I get that. 100% get that. But then it has, arguably, one of my most iconic games that I've ever played in Final Fantasy VII. And you can roast me all you want. Please do. I want to see what your reactions are. But, like, Final Fantasy VII, it was arguably, like, the make or break for Sony. Sony and Nintendo, they had their rift. No Sony Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Yeah, the Nintendo PlayStation, whatever it was. None of that, because they're like, oh, cool, you want to give us the shaft? Well, guess what? We're going to make our own console, and we're going to do everything better. And you get
and so they did.
Like, that game, that defined my middle school years. Like, that game, I played it over the summer. I played it over summer of 98. Like, that game, I just remember having so much fun. Didn't fully understand everything at the time, but I'm immersed, having a good time. I remember Emerald Weapon. Like, I first made contact with it. I was like, oh, this is a cool big baddie. Maybe I'll get something. Oh my god, I'm dead. Splat.
Endless gaming memories, and it was again, the word I've used today, word of the day, seminal. So, a pinnacle of something that came to you at the right time in your life, and you played it to death, and you loved every minute of it.
Mm-hmm. And then you have Breath of the Wild.
Which showed that Japanese developers can make American games better than us.
So, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, Breath of the Wild won 65%
unfortunately
to 35%.
All right, so
unfortunately, unfortunately,
you got to have your say.
So you have arguably one of, if not the best JRPG on the PlayStation 1 against Breath of the Wild. Like, yeah, I get it.
When you say anything ho-hum, it sounds stupid. Final Fantasy VII. Oh, the 7th one? Yeah, I can do that too. I know your tricks. What I'm saying, Breath of the Wild came out and completely erased the boredom and tradition of literally an entire franchise built on top of it, and it was amazing.
So you're admitting the franchise was bad and Breath of the Wild saved it?
I was admitting Skyward Sword is bad.
Okay, fine. I'll respect that. But you can, like, this matchup doesn't make sense. Like,
okay, would Final Fantasy exist if Zelda didn't?
Yes! They all came out around the same time frame. Look at it. On the NES. So you had what? We had Mario, we had Donkey Kong, you had Zelda, you had Final Fantasy 1, you had Dragon Quest 1. Like, you gotta remember, like, Final Fantasy was kind of like, hey, a stepping point from, like, Ultima, Age of Might and Magic,
and
all
Wizardry.
all those old PC games kind of translated into Final Fantasy. Like, Final Fantasy evolved from that. So Final Fantasy would be there without Zelda.
I'll concede that point. I think for me, it's a matter of like, what was the biggest risk? And even then, I look back at Final Fantasy VII, I still think no.
Biggest risk, if Final Fantasy VII flopped, because that was the most expensive video game of all time at the time, if it flopped, PlayStation folds. Breath of the Wild flops, the Switch is still here because it's an indie churning game machine and Nintendo will be Nintendo. Like, I will fight your point, sir, with my point.
I will fight how you're wrong with why I'm right. No, but I think about this is where we have to actually just throw objectivity out the window, because that's the entire point of having a discussion about something, is that it's about a personal reflection of what you want and what you value. Absolutely. I know for me personally, when I played Zelda games, I knew the formula. When I beat Majora's Mask and I saw Wind Waker get announced, I'm like, oh, the game where you get the hook shot and some type of musical instrument and some type of vehicle and some type of world, and you find a yellow triangle somewhere and maybe there's a princess or sometimes a villain who's sometimes a man or sometimes a pig. That got stale real quick. I've told you I don't see a lot of movies for the same way. Like, I see the trailers, I'm like, oh, I know what this movie is because I know what story structure is, I know what plot points are, I know what tropes are, and here's how this happens. So I skipped literally every other Zelda, especially Skyward Sword, because Skyward Sword made me angry. And then Breath of the Wild dragged me back in, kicking and screaming and happy.
Like, I'll admit, like, Breath of the Wild, everything it did absolutely right. Like, I can't, even me, like, that's not my cup of tea. I played it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like,
and one thing I'll actually throw at Final Fantasy VII a bit, games conceptually and mechanically. When I say what was riskier, I think about it on a mechanics level. We take out the spectacle of what 3D graphics and cutscenes or music or CDs and stuff did with Final Fantasy VII. Is it fundamentally different than literally any of the 6 games that came out before it?
I mean, that's fair. Like, 6 will be definitely the best of the franchise for most people, 7 for some,
and
so...
That's what I'm saying, too. Like,
I mean...
in terms of risk, I look at the game itself, in its own franchise, and what it does for the play.
So I will concede on that point. Fair enough. But guys, now we've gotten through the hard part. Holy balls. So we're going to you've heard everything we've had to say, so we're going to kind of speed run this for you a little bit.
Yeah, you got to speed run with this podcast too, baby.
So
we'll start back on the left, right? Because
yep.
I'm pretty sure we've talked so much people forgot what the first one was.
Exactly. So we have Red Dead Redemption versus Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Which one are you a simp for when it comes to freaking Rockstar games?
So, super close.
Oh, wow.
Very close.
I actually didn't pay attention to this.
51%, 49%, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas won. Like, cool, Rockstar game. We get it. Uh-huh. No worries.
No worries.
So, moving on, we got Knights of the Old Republic.
Yo. This was a close one,
Fallout
too.
Vegas.
It was
Another really close one.
This is still the wrong answer, by the way. KOTOR is the shit.
So, Fallout New Vegas won, 51-49. Like, that's close. Like, I'm for that. I love close matchups. We have World of Warcraft versus I Hate You, Die in a Fire, Burnout 3 Takedown for beating Chrono Trigger.
You're just jealous. You're just jealous of the people who...
I am happy World of Warcraft won. I said it. Thank you, Blizzard and your soul-sucking MMO for beating the game that beat Chrono Trigger.
How many cars do you get in World of Warcraft? How many racetracks do you get?
Infinite.
Wow.
You get flying cars.
Oh my god. Can you crash them and then you can listen to My Chemical Romance on your radio?
Yeah, I mean, you could just put the mount away and fall to your death.
Fall to your death, put all your emo songs on Ventrilo, blame your friends.
Exactly.
Oh god.
So, but it won 60-40. I'm fine with that. We've got Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare versus Dishonored.
Freaking just gets bodied by COD. Holy shit. 78-22. I'm okay with that.
You have one, I know what you're about to hear. It's Portal 2 versus God of War 2018.
The portal gun could take down Kratos in a fight.
Exactly. They just
shoot him to the moon, then put him on the ground. It's like, see ya.
Oh, how about an infinite loop of you can't get out of the portal?
Boy, help me.
Boy, why can't I get out of this?
I don't know, Dad. The gun's weird. Also, I just learned what the word gun meant.
So God of War won 79%, 21%.
All right, the next matchup I'm not too upset about. It's Assassin's Creed 4 versus Elder Scrolls 5. To the point where it's just like, this is why they started adding subtitles and why Skyrim is just known as Skyrim, because Elder Scrolls 5. I mean, we're up to Final Fantasy 15 now, if you count that as a freaking game.
No, we're up to 16. That's coming out next year, my friend.
And when I saw the trailer, and I'll echo Donkey's sentiment, I saw the trailer for that, and I didn't want to die of secondhand embarrassment for RPG fans when I saw it. So good on you, Square.
Yeah, well, we will see. I'm optimistically cautious on that game.
Well, you don't have Nomura at the helm, do you?
No, not that I know of. I think it's gone a different route.
Good. I say because you'll learn that I love the man, but I got some problems with his style, so to speak.
You mean how much crack can I smoke today and then create a video game?
How much crack can I smoke today and then go watch Les Mis and then burst into the executive office at Square Enix itself and say we need to remake Final Fantasy 15 into a musical?
Yeah, we're not going to comment on that. So moving on, you have Minecraft versus Bioshock.
Bullshit.
Minecraft won. It was kind of close. It was 57 to 43.
Again, like whatever. Kids love it. That's fine. Bioshock, I still stand as like a perfect game, but apparently so is Minecraft. So there you go.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm gonna say.
I have to stop looking away from the mic when I talk. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say John and I are gonna echo the same sentiment on this. So you have The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt versus OG Doom.
Okay, how many witches can you have sex with in the first Doom game?
I don't know. I don't even think I want to know the answer to this question. That's terrifying.
Oh my god. There's probably mods out there.
Doom lost.
Doom lost.
Should not have lost because OG Doom, let's be real. Doom guy, he is bro guy. He is awesome. And it is cool to kill demons. But
and not only that, but like that game is timeless. It's unstuck in time because of what you can do to it.
I mean, heck, look at limited run games. They're releasing Doom 64, Doom this, Doom Eternal came out.
The franchise viability is great, but I'm talking about the actual modifications and capabilities of making like Doom mods. You know what those are, right?
No, elaborate.
So, one of the things that came with Doom was a really impressive toolkit where you could make your own levels, your own maps, own textures, and it was also scalable because when they coded it the first time, they were like, computers are only going to get better. So let's make it so you can have freaking 4K resolution. So people have been making WADs and levels and maps and shareware since the day it came out. And it's still going. People have Doom WAD competitions. People still play old Doom connected via their own little private networks where they play multiplayer, their own custom shit all the time. You can make new Doom games anytime you want. And it's crazy. The community around that stuff is phenomenal.
So Doom lost 76% to 24%. So we're getting into
go to hell.
The other side of the bracket.
I'm flipping back over.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate versus The Last of Us. You know what we said about Smash. Like, Smash was awesome.
And you know what I said about Last of Us.
Yeah. I mean, thank you, Daddy Sakurai, for amazingness and dying for 6 years for our guilty pleasure. But Last of Us kind of curb stomped Super Smash Bros. 64%.
It probably did it literally. It probably did it literally.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, The Last of Us must beat the Super Smash. So it won 64 to 36%.
Do you like fun? And the answer apparently is no.
It's IGN. What do you expect? So moving right along, Grand Theft Auto 5 versus Halo 2.
Wow, disrespect.
I think I speak for John and myself in saying, like, we wanted Halo 2 to win this. Like, I'm not a big Xbox guy. John can tell you night and day, I'm a Sony fanboy. However you want to call me. Like, I love PlayStation.
We'll get you into rehab soon. Don't worry about it.
I know. I got to check in tomorrow. But Grand Theft Auto shouldn't have won, but Grand Theft Auto 5 destroyed Halo 2 72% to 28%.
And what's funny is, now that I'm thinking about these two results, Grand Theft Auto 5 is still being played because of GTA Online and all that stuff. I am sure in some little private cove of the internet, somebody's still playing LAN play on Halo 2. And that makes me happy.
We'll bring it back. So our next matchup is Pokemon Yellow versus Batman Arkham City.
Games that are, in the same genre, in the same feel, yeah.
Batman, I'm gonna punch you, Pikachu.
And Pikachu's gonna zap you. He's like, rubber suit, bitch.
So, Batman won 67% to 33%.
Now I'm just imagining a Pokemon trainer Batman, and you just throw Pokeballs out, and they'd all be Zubats.
So, John's favorite game of all time, Dark Souls.
Versus Rise of the Tomb Raider, which Rise of the Tomb Raider got 46%. That's crazy to me. Like, that's crazy to me because, like, Granted, I stayed away from this new version of Tomb Raider because I thought it was like torture porn and it was gross. But the fact that it got 46% is kind of nuts.
Yeah, like Dark Souls barely won 54% to 46%. I'd have been okay if Rise of the Tomb Raider won, because like I'm not big on the Dark Souls franchise. Like I appreciate what they did. I like people who want super hard video games. I mean, it's like, hey, cool, here, eat hard video game. Like I get that, and in a way that's listening to fans, which I can truly appreciate. But now it's just kind of devolved into how hard can I make my meat sponge now?
Ew. We're going to cut that. That sounds really phallic and gross. How hard can I make my meat sponge now? Welcome to Jon and James Talk Games After Dark.
Be around at 11 p.m.
And let's see how hard we can make your meat sponge. All right, we got moving on. So the next two brackets are immediate yay and immediate boo for me, because it's Apex Legends versus Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 won 59%, which is great, because it had a great single-player campaign and a dope multiplayer campaign, that freaking basically made Apex Legends what it was. And then jumping ahead, we have Bloodborne versus Tetris, and this one insults me. I take it as an actual personal insult that Bloodborne got 55% and beat out Tetris.
We saw it coming. The writing was on the wall. Soulsborne for life.
Get out of my house.
So, moving along, the last two
wow.
in the top 32, you have Super Mario Bros. 3 versus Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with this. Super Mario Bros. 3 won 72% to 28%. Like, no disrespect to Metroid Prime.
It's history.
Yeah.
And like as we debated a bit ago with Final Fantasy VII and Breath of the Wild in terms of what risk meant for a franchise, Metroid Prime was a huge risk for Metroid. It paid off in spades. Mario 3 was, what if we made another one?
And Tanuki Mario.
And there's and again, I don't want to discount the culture that sprung out of literally everything that game did. But I still come back and actually play the game itself, and I'm like, okay, I'll play one more. I played 1 and 2 way more than I ever played 3 and World.
I'll suffer through this.
Yeah, I tried to do that last night actually. Thank God for save states.
So our last matchup in this round is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Resident Evil 4.
For everything that I said, again,
he defended both now, remember.
I did yeah, exactly. But like for RE4, we're asking the same question again. Risk taken with what it does. Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 were all pretty much the same game. They were survival horror in a very specific way.
Zombie.
Slow-moving zombie tank controls, and debatably that's fun. It made they made 3 games and made a 4th one.
Yep.
But in terms of risks and what Resident Evil 4 did to Resident Evil, which basically to me, in my translation, made it fun, like, yeah, that's great. So I give full credit. Like, it only missed by 10%. That's a very good matchup, I think.
Yep. Breath of the Wild, 55% to 45%. That was fair. All right. Yeah. So home stretch, top 16.
All right, sweet 16s, baby. Let's go.
So we have Grand Theft Auto San Andreas versus Fallout New Vegas. I mean,
because of just I know how this list shakes down, like it's predictable.
Grand Theft Auto won 69% to 31%.
Nice.
Like, you can argue both ways. Is what it is. I would have liked to see Fallout just because New Vegas was my initial jumping off point. Mm-hmm. But IGN, you have spoken.
Yeah, and you've spoken wrongly on some things. But...
Moving on, I know I expressed my pleasure of this in the last round. World of Warcraft, God bless, versus Call of Duty for Modern Warfare. Call of Duty decided to snipe World of Warcraft out.
He took off Makarov's arm.
75% to 25%. I mean, I'm okay with this. Like, Modern Warfare, I think, ever since then, Call of Duty is just, it's another Call of Duty game. I think Modern Warfare was it was kind of the jumping off point to kind of plateau and kind of downgrade a little bit, in my opinion. Uh-huh. So I'm fine to beat World of Warcraft. Is what it is.
Captain Price was like, for the Horde.
Yep.
Anyway.
Tactical nuke.
There we go.
Then you have God of War 2018 versus The Elder Scrolls V.
This is the one time that this matchup will actually make me happy, because it actually dethroned Skyrim. It could have been dethroned by a better game, but fine.
Like, so
fine. It's fine.
So God of War 2018, it won 64% to 36%.
All right, and we get this. I want to jump into this one because I actually have something to say about it. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt beat up Minecraft 58% to 42%, and I'm like,
adults beat kids.
It's pretty easy to do.
Well, we know who is never going to watch My Future Children.
I was going to make a joke, but no, don't do it. Don't do it. Abort. Cancel recording. Delete recording. Burn. No, but okay, so what I was going to say is this actually makes me a little bit sad because for as much as I might have no interest whatsoever, I understand what Minecraft is for the people who play it, the people who love it, and the kids that love it, and the things that spawned out of. Fuck Notch, he's weirdo now, whatever. But again, another open world action game with stuff to do and story beats to hit. It beat out the ultimate sandbox. An open world sandbox video game with things that were already in it beat out the ultimate sandbox.
Yeah, I mean, it beat out the ultimate Swiss Army knife of sandboxes.
That's what I'm saying. Because that's actually something that I want to touch on later in another episode maybe, but the only thing that AAA studios are really meant for nowadays is to make big open world sandbox games, and even then, other people are catching up.
The future of gaming, ladies and gentlemen. He's telling it to you now.
It's been happening for a while, and it makes me sad, but you know what actually doesn't make me too sad is that literally the other guys, the little guys, they're coming in and making literally every other type of game now. It's all great.
Our next matchup actually gives me a chuckle because you heard his opinion on both. But it's The Last of Us versus Grand Theft Auto 5.
I'm actually kind of pissed. Wait, no. Oh, shit. I didn't even see this one. Okay.
So
okay, I'm happy. I'm happy about this one.
I was about to be like, whoa, I know how you feel.
You freaking did a heel turn in the middle of the podcast.
Exactly. So Grand Theft Auto 5, which we know John is not a fan of, me, I'm whatever on.
It's a fine game. It was there for its time, but I don't see why it's the most important game in the world right now.
And then The Last of Us, which you definitely heard him speak words on.
Let's see, so again, this is where, in the last bracket, Last of Us killed fun. GTA 5 killed it right back.
GTA 5 said, my 58% is going to take your 42% out back and put you to pasture. So, GTA 5, moving on.
Yeah, pretty solid stuff. And this next one shocks me.
Makes him really happy because you heard him say Batman Arkham City, ooh, Batman, whatever, way back then, versus Dark Souls, which we know how much he loves. He's actually supporting Batman here,
well, I'm surprised because, again, I try to put myself into who's voting in these things, right? I would, if you told me, going in, you have to pick between Batman Arkham City or Dark Souls, which is more popular or which is better, I'd be like, yeah, I'd probably say Dark Souls is better because look at it. It just is.
But the way I picture this argument going is, we have Batman, world's greatest detective, versus medieval dude. Who's winning? Oh, you have magic? That's cute. I'm Batman. I have an answer for that.
Man made of beef jerky. Dying after getting, blown by a dragon.
Yep. So Batman Arkham City won 64% to 36%.
Blown up by a dragon.
Game over.
Dang it.
Our next matchup was actually pretty close. It's Titanfall 2 versus Bloodborne.
Again, and I'm not shocked. I'm not disappointed either. It's a close match, whatever. I've said enough.
So Bloodborne won 52% to 48% on Titanfall 2.
Okay, this next one.
This next one makes John really happy now because it's Super Mario Bros. 3 versus Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You hate that game, right? Yeah.
It's the worst. Just burn it. Burn every copy. No one should ever play it again.
Zelda retired. So Breath of the Wild beats Mario. So the fans have spoken, said, Mario, sorry, you're second to Zelda.
Dude, it's so weird. Because I think about Nintendo franchises, and it's it was Pokemon versus Zelda or Pokemon versus Mario. Pokemon would always win. But we didn't get that discussion today.
They dodged a bullet on that one.
They dodged a Thunder Shock or a Self-Destruction or a Rock Throw or whatever.
A Master Ball of a comment. So
I wish you could actually use Master Balls in conversation, which is it's we're debating on this. I'm right. No, I'm right. Boonk. Well, I guess you're right now. Awesome.
You ain't breaking away from that.
Damn.
So Breath of the Wild won 64% to 36%. So we're in the home stretch, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the top 8, finally. God, we are long-winded today, aren't we, John?
A little bit. And also, we're on the bro side of this frickin' bracket now, just based on the games I'm seeing.
Yep. So it's GTA San Andreas versus Modern Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
San Andreas wins 63%
How the hell?
to 37%.
Like,
I mean, GTA for life, man. Yeah.
I get it, but like, I also don't like it.
I actually think you're okay with the next one, which is God of War 2018 and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
You're coming from a person with very limited experience with both of these games.
Well, you just talked about all your rage for The Witcher 3. Like, you expressed that a few brackets ago.
It wasn't rage. It was just kind of like a banal, recognition
fair.
of what it is. Now, look, like I said, studios exist only these days to make these big open-world AAA type games, right? Now, that's not saying they can't be good or fun or well put together, but this also came from CD Projekt Red, who did Cyberpunk, and it was kind of the same story when Witcher 3 came out. I'm not going to debate that kind of stuff. What I'm going to say is that, like, if the discussion was what feels like an actual crafted experience, God of War still wins. Because, again, I might have my opinion on this, but
I mean, I agree with you there. Like, if you play it, so the new God of War, if you haven't played it, it tells a story. It's supposed to be kind of this redemption arc of Kratos getting another chance. As you all have heard, come here, boy.
Yeah, you've seen the memes, y'all.
So, like, I get it, and I can appreciate it from that, whereas you have it going up against The Witcher 3, which is arguably, hey, sandbox plus my entire game is side quests.
It's basically the game director basically saying, like, this is an emotional story that means a lot to me, and I wanted to explore it through the veil of this character, and then Witcher 3 comes out, like DJ Khaled, another one. And then it's like, all right.
You lose track of mainline versus side quests in Witcher 3. So I'm fine. God of War, it won. And it did a pretty good margin, 61% to 39%.
And I'm pretty sure some of that was voted because of Cyberpunk hate these days.
So moving on to the last of the top 8, you have Grand Theft Auto 5.
Trevor frickin' shoots Batman in the face.
For 62% to 38%. Farewell, Batman Arkham City. You had a good run.
You had a good run, and it's shocking you made it this far.
I see what you did there. So this one, I see John grinning ear to ear on this because it's Bloodborne versus Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
There is a god.
The last of the Soulsborne games has been put out of its misery.
Cut out.
65% to 35%.
And I want, you've asked before, like, for, comments and stuff, and want to hear what the audience has to say. I want to hear what you guys have to say. People who love the Soulsbornes and all those types of games, and if you played Breath of the Wild as well, I want to hear what you have to say. You think this is fair? Because I think it's fair.
I agree with you.
Again, what was the bigger risk? Period. That's what I like to ask when it comes to games. What was the bigger risk for a franchise or a very single experience, like a single game? Tell me.
So, I hope you guys have been paying pretty close attention because we're in the top 4, and funny enough, it's 50% of this top 4 is made up of Grand Theft Auto games,
which is lame and weird at the same time.
So
but also totally not surprising.
We'll start the first Grand Theft Auto fight. It's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas versus God of War 2018. We've said a lot on both. God of War 2018 ended up winning 61% to 39%. I'm fine with that. GTA, you're fun and everything, but God of War story, it's better. Is what it is.
It's true.
So then on the other Grand Theft Auto bracket, we've got GTA 5 versus Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. GTA 5 won. You heard what I had to say about Breath of the Wild. You've heard what I had to say about GTA 5. I am actually against this. I think Breath of the Wild should have won, but GTA 5 did.
This is the whole thing. I think the reason we wanted to open with this episode of this podcast in this way is for everybody who's listening to really get a feel for our approach to games and our ways of looking through it and our kind of a weird, like, gaming empathy level where it comes to understanding certain franchises or what appeals to certain people and all sorts of stuff, right?
We want you to get our viewpoints. We want you to understand where we're coming from, and we appreciate gaming in all facets. Like, I may be the JRPG, borderline, weeaboo, RPGs for life guy, but I still play other genres. I still appreciate other games, and, like, I like gaming in all forms and fashion. Yeah,
like, whenever somebody comes and approaches me, as you often done, with, like, a new game that you're excited about, and I can't find anything of interest in it that I would personally find, The one thing I feel is jealousy, because you find something wonderful in something that I just can't find in it. It's like, oh, okay, that sounds great. I'm glad you like it.
I've got the golden ticket.
And I'm over there just like, all right, I'll just, keep eating my Wonka bar.
So
this metaphor is getting out of hand.
I know, right?
But, so, Grand Theft Auto 5 beat out Breath of the Wild. Again, I said it before, it's another one versus let's change the face of our entire franchise. And we get to the finale. The grand final. God of War 2018 versus Grand Theft Auto 5. And let's just say this, I'll just declare this now. No matter who won this, I'd still be upset. Like, truly. After all of the games that didn't make it, holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's... We look at... I mean, you get a full gamut of gaming in this. We've gotten from Half-Life to Mario to Final Fantasy,
Diablo,
Chrono Trigger,
Doom, Persona.
Burnout! Everything in between.
We're going to play Burnout after this. You're going to love it.
No. Absolutely not. It beat Chrono Trigger, so I can never, ever, period, play another Burnout game.
I'm picturing you as Indigo Montoya. And it's like you're going to see a box of Burnout 3 and you're going to stab it like, I want my father back, you son of a bitch.
So, the culmination of this entire list was a vote of 63% for God of War 2018 versus 37% of GTA 5.
And I see Alana's reaction of, excuse me?
Twitter, you haven't failed us because literally, top 2 comments by Mr. Petty. You have all failed me. Accurate description of this list. And then Alana Pierce. Excuse me.
In all caps. That's inside gaming level shit right there.
Like, so I mean, that's the list, guys. And honestly...
And I prefaced it, I don't want to cut you off, but I prefaced it the same way. No matter who won with this, everyone would have a reason to complain.
Yeah, like, you can't appease everyone. And us as gamers, I think nowadays we understand that a little bit more. Because, I mean, like, back in the day, it'd basically be like, no, my game's better. No, my game's better. And nobody...
That's because we started playing games when we were 5.
Yeah, nobody would leave their hill. Like, I'm on this hill, I'm dying on this hill. And I think nowadays we can appreciate a lot more the different genres. Like, it's kind of nice being able to, like, see different facets and avenues of gaming. And I just want to say thank you guys for, this is a long episode, so really and truly thank you guys for staying with us.
What's your favorite podcast? The one where the 2 white guys talk for an entire feature-length film amount of time about video games they like. That's my favorite.
If we don't win an Oscar for this, damn it, Bobby.
Well, boy, ain't right.
So, but no, please let us know, what you feel, what your opinions are.
Yeah, the list is readily available too. Like, tell us what you think should have made it.
And if your game wasn't on there, like, if one of your top games wasn't on there, let us know, what it was. Like, we'd love to talk about it. We're new on the scene. This is our first episode, so we want to, like, we've got a lot of ideas. We're going to talk gaming till we're blue in the face. We hope you stick around with it. And send your thoughts and opinions our way.
For real. And I hope you just enjoy the show, because this is the kind of stuff that I would always like to do, because I've been in, like, the kind of streaming and YouTube video circle for a long time now, and I've always tried to just put stuff out there that I just enjoy doing. It's like, yeah, people jive on that kind of stuff. People feel that energy, so I'm already getting existential about this on the first episode, so I'm probably going to cut this.
So, I'm James.
I'm John.
And this has been Games with John and James. Please give this a listen, and as always, thank you so much, and
do all the likes and all the comments and all the shares and all the things.
Stay tuned. Episode 2.
Episode 2.
John plays a JRPG.
It's just a skeleton holding a controller.
John, no! 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 Oh, wait, this is actually entertaining. No!
Oh, she's got big tits.
On that note. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.